Welcome back. Today our guest is JAKUB JÓZEF ORLISKI.
Hello.
Hi. Happy to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Zanim zaczniemy, chciałbym podziękować moim patronom, Dawid, Piotr oraz Michał. Dziękuję wam panowie za wsparcie. No i jeżeli również wy chcecie wspierać moją twórczość w internecie, zapraszam was do przeczytania opisu tego odcinka oraz tutaj pojawi się taka ikonka w tym wideo. Możecie kliknąć, poczytać i również wspierać mnie i uzyskać dostęp do materiałów edukacyjnych. Byłoby mi bardzo miło i fajnie, że tworzymy taką community. Wracając do ciebie, going back to you, Jakub, podemos empezar. Me gustaría empezar preguntándote si sabes la diferencia entre ser y estar cachondo.
Oh my goodness.
Ya deberías saberlo.
No.
Ser cachondo.
Estar cachondo. I knew this one.
So you remember your interview in La Resistencia?
Yes.
3 years
there
ago?
was something like that.
I think we need to give a bit of a context for our viewers. 3 years ago, Jakub had a tour in Spain. And I'm going to put fragments of this video here now so you can watch it.
Nos encanta la gente polaca. The Polish ambassador, who is called Marjana.
Marzena.
Marjana.
Marzenka. It's like a sweet name for Marzena. Marzena is very official. Like
vale.
Marzenka is like...
Ok, que Marjana es el nombre oficial y Marzenka es como is like como cariñoso. Like,
Exacto.
It was pure chaos.
Yeah.
You were interviewed by the Spanish guy, and it was nuts. Like, he was asking you questions in both languages, Spanish and English.
Yeah.
He was doing like simultaneous translation. There was 2 other guys sitting in the back.
Eso tienes que decir por ahí. Estoy cachondo.
Having their own dynamic.
Yeah.
Then you stood on your head and you sang one note.
The note.
¿Qué no?
The note. La nota, the note.
It's difficult.
I mean, not only one.
What was going on?
No, but it was crazy. I was on tour and then somebody canceled. Some kind of like heavy metal star that's supposed to be interviewed by the guy who they usually say in Poland that he's sort of like Kuba Wojewódzki show.
Yeah.
Something like this kind of vibe. Very fun, but also intense. Like I have some Spanish friends like Janusz Kortajarena, the supermodel, and he said like, I don't know if I want to go there. Like it's intense, especially because I'm Spanish, he's Spanish, and like they ask really uncomfortable questions. But it is like it's a fun.
It's
vibe.
like a TV show. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And then my manager said like, hey, so there's a cancellation, we can get you in, but like you have to like now get off the bus because I was with the orchestra, and then the cab will take you to the train station to Madrid. And then in Teatro Arlequín, there was like this small theater.
So it was super spontaneous.
It's super spontaneous.
Yeah.
So like I literally got there straight from the taxi from the train station. I went to the recording studio. They just literally put like some powder on my face and they were like, okay, go. So I changed in the cab and I went in. Had no idea what La Resistencia is, and the only thing I knew was that Marzenka, our ex-ambassador,
She was there.
She was there before, and she did a good job. Everybody loved her, and
they invited you afterwards.
Yeah, and the thing is that like I do not speak Spanish. The only thing I can say is like, ¿qué tal? ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien.
Todo bien. So yeah, and it was quite chaotic because the program, this TV show, is led in a very chaotic way because he's like asking questions, running around, and then the band, there are 2 guys from the band, and
Sitting
they're just
in the
like
back.
kind of like doing their own stuff, like, and I don't know how it does work.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was the funniest thing I've seen this year. It was definitely one of the funniest interviews I've seen in my life because let's talk about what you did. You also stood on your head. You sang one note.
Yeah.
I have to ask, to begin with, is it even healthy to do that?
I mean, it's not easy. Definitely not an ideal position to sing.
I can imagine.
But that was a TV show, and it was kind of funny. So like he asked, okay, so like can you do a handstand and sing or something like that? So I was like, actually, I don't know. Let's try.
Well, you managed, but it was super fun to watch it. But I'm starting with this, you see, because despite the language barriers, you still guys managed to communicate. Because, I mean, the host of the show, he didn't speak a good. I mean, he spoke good English, but it wasn't perfect. But
Yeah.
you still managed to communicate.
You know, they say if there is a will, there is a way. You know,
There is a will, there is a way.
It was quite a moment to just kind of enjoy the atmosphere. The public in this theater was also kind of like, wow, who's that guy? Like,
Yeah.
we have no idea.
Like
who
some
he
Polish
is.
guy
Yeah,
who just happens to
exactly.
be in this show.
Singing super high. Like, why is it he?
Why is he
like,
standing on the head?
yeah. It was super like weird, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like, yeah, like I spoke English. He would translate sometimes my answers in a very like, I don't know if he even translated it correctly.
Yeah, he did,
to
but
Spanish,
it was still the chaotic way
Yeah, very
to
very
do
chaotic
that.
way. So yeah, I would generally say that there is a way. If you want to, you will understand a lot from the context, from the energy, from the sort of gestures.
Yeah, and but the body language. You know,
Yeah,
also
exactly.
works. And it fits super perfectly with also what I'm doing, because here we're breaking the language barriers. We're showing that we can talk without, like, we even make mistakes. The best way is to really communicate, understand one another. Wspólnie, robimy to
Yeah.
wspólnie, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to have you here and to be.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
on my
most
podcast.
important thing is I think to just let go, and like even though if you make mistakes, doesn't matter. Like people will understand you. Like later on, if you have to communicate on like some kind of professional level,
It's a different story,
Good
but-
to study and like to kind of have the discipline to study,
Yeah.
to learn, and to correct yourself. But if it comes to simple kind of communication between people, it's just like let go. Don't judge yourself. Boom.
And speaking of languages, you also speak Italian.
A little bit.
Okay, how did that go? Because you also sing in Italian.
Yes, but the thing is that it's completely different because my sort of ground is early music, which means it's written in a very old-fashioned, archaic Italian. So sometimes the grammar in that,
Is different.
old-fashioned Italian is different, and language is different. Like the words that sometimes I would use in Italy, they were like,
The language
"How
evolves,
do you
right?
know this
Yeah.
word? Like we don't use it for like 300 years already. Like
Yeah.
why?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an opera singer," and it's funny. So that's why like I tried to learn, but at the same time, like I started so late with music. And so late, I decided that I want to do it for life, that I had to basically use all my time to keep up with my peers, with people who studied music for 12 years already in music schools. I came from the street, like basically to the university. So I had to spend a lot of time studying music, history of music, I don't know, ear training, playing on an instrument, harmony, like all of those things that are basics for musicians. So plus singing, of course. And then, of course, I did not speak English at all. So my travels helped me a lot. I was very kind of focused on traveling. I loved traveling. Still, I love it because of the places, culture, food, and meeting new people.
Exploring
But
also
exactly,
yourself, and then
exactly. You learn a lot about yourself when you travel. And I did travel a lot by myself, not knowing English very well. So I would literally take screenshots of like maps and things. And of course you have to ask for help. So yeah, I've learned English.
And now
from
you use
that.
it on a daily basis because you're also
Yeah.
working in that language, right? So,
Yeah, I work in English. My manager is not English, but he studied in London and in America. So his English is also
So you communicate in
impeccable.
English then?
Yeah, we communicate in English. Also with my team, Warner Classics and Nerato, my recording label. The headquarters is in Paris, but we have offices in Spain.
There you go.
In Italy, in Germany, in United States, like everywhere. Now I was in Japan, and I met for the first time with my team in Japan.
You just came back from
fun.
Japan.
Yes.
And you got your nice shirts from there. Let's show
so
it to the
proud.
people. It's amazing.
Do you see?
Can you tell us more about it, please?
Oh my goodness. I am kind of like Team Lacoste.
Yeah.
And, I love kind of those pieces which are not easy to find and not like accessible. And I went to Japan and I just like, I don't know, walked on the street and saw the Lacoste store. I was like, wow, this is cool. I'm going to see what do they have, like something different maybe. And yeah, actually they have collaboration with the local artists. And they have things that we don't have in Europe or anywhere else. So
Because that's a cherry like flower?
Yeah,
The
cherry blossom
cherry blossom
tree
flower.
thingy.
Which is, I mean, it relates to Japan.
Yes,
obviously.
exactly. And this is a very unique T-shirt.
Oh, it's a nice
I
T-shirt you have
bought it
yourself.
and I decided to wear
I'm
it
sad I cannot get
today.
it because I cannot buy it online. So
yeah, you
should have brought it
cannot.
for the podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, anyways, Jakub, I always give a round of introduction. And, I always try to look for like refined words and, but with you, I decided to take obvious routes. Countertenor and a b-boy.
Yeah.
I think these two words describe you pretty well. To give a bit of a context, what is a b-boy? It's a break boy.
Yeah.
Or b-girl, break girl, which obviously stands for, well, might not be obvious, but it stands for, well, it's a label that describes, well, it originates from Bronx, New York City, from 70s. So it describes young artists who were going out to the streets and they were showing
Somebody
their...
came prepared.
Well, I did some research, I have to say, but...
So I will just add that like B-girls also were called fly girls. And that was...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because to be fly was like something cool. That was something fresh. And they were like fly girls.
Yeah, but you see, like I read b-boy, and I immediately thought of you. But for me, obviously it's like an English expression, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
use,
yeah.
but it's more of a man sitting in front of me than a boy. But I was thinking, does dancing, when you dance, do you feel sometimes like a boy, like a carefree youngster?
I don't know, like, to be fair, I constantly want to just cherish the fact that I have the kid inside of me. And the kid is not dead. And I love that feeling. I love that when I'm exploring new places, when I'm meeting new people, when I have the curiosity of a kid. I love that about any people that I meet. Because this is something that I think is important for me and for my art form. So that's why when I'm dancing, I do feel like a kid. Not always, but yeah.
You also say it's not your hobby; it's a lifestyle. It's a way of
Yes.
living.
Yeah, because like if you say that something is a hobby, it's like I can have another hobby, and I have like
Yeah.
few hobbies. It doesn't put the
Some, like,
strength
special-
of it and like on it. And I started as a kid, doing flips by myself, and like I was rollerblading, skateboarding, skiing, snowboarding, and I did capoeira, acrobatics. And when I found breaking, that was like an enlightenment. Like this is the thing. Like that was artistic, that was free, that was combined with music, and I love the expression that I am becoming a physical effect of what I hear. And this is something that speaks to me. That like whenever I listen to music, it evokes certain emotions, and certain music evokes specific movement. And that's why I change the music that I dance to. So it's not always hip hop. It's not always like some kind of funk music, but it's usually also I try with ambient music, with house music, with electronic music, with classical music, because
Really?
it also dictates completely different movement.
Yeah.
And no, my
Tell
my
us.
fiance is laughing because I am listening to some kind of chacona, baroque style sort of music, and it's a banger. Like it's so like I cannot,
You would just dance to it.
yeah, I have to. It moves. It moves.
I find the contrast between a b-boy or a dancer and a man in a suit singing opera quite astonishing, because breaking is I would say is raw, is like it's physical, and singing in opera is more structured, sophisticated, refined. So do these worlds are separate for you, or do you find some similarities between them?
At the beginning, they were completely separate, and that's why, like, I sometimes think that I was living the life of Jakub and the life of Józef, and those were two completely different personalities doing two completely different things, because I did not know how to combine them and did not see any similarities. And also, I was told that if I will be breaking, I will break myself, and I won't be a singer. I won't make it, because there are a lot of things that you cannot do as a singer. For example, when you do, I don't know, a lot of head spins just before you go on stage for singing, then it's impossible to release certain muscles to be able to have the best quality of sound. So you have to analyze yourself a lot. So that I did that. And when I was studying in Warsaw, and I hate when somebody says to me, you cannot do this. I like, this is for me something that like, I will show you that I can.
I'll
Like,
prove you that I can. I will do everything I can to
sort
show.
of. I know
I
it's
get
sometimes sometimes it's the wrong motivation, but
I don't see it that way.
it's just like, as you have to focus on the positive side of it and not the negative side of it. And in my case, because I was rejected so many times on my like path,
Educational
educational path. I would say that at the beginning I was motivated from that negative side, and it was a good kick. It was a good sort of motivational kick, but then I had to change it for a positive side, not to get too bitter, I think, about it. So so I think at the beginning was very difficult to combine, because I just had to learn what exactly am I doing with my body when I'm dancing, and what am I doing when I'm singing, and what is needed, what is helpful. And there are a lot of things from breaking and from movement in general that I can use on stage as a singer. And that's why, like, whenever I sing, before I have to do my warm-up. Like, I wouldn't say it's a like breakdancey warm-up, but this is something
Still
that helps
involves
me.
your body, and
Exactly. It helps me find my voice, like my proper voice, what I need to be able to sing a concert or be at the opera for 3 or 4 hours on stage. You know, it's really like you have to have a pretty good stamina and energy to maintain the energy on the same level, and not be like, okay, I'm starting like this, then I have my peak, and then I go down.
I experience
and
like sinusoids and
so like I have to be ready. I have to be constantly on the same level, and that's what actually makes a difference between a mediocre artist and somebody who is on the top level. They always deliver. They like, we are never, like, as artists, we are never happy with our results, but we are aware what to do to be able to deliver. So this is the most important thing.
You know, for me, both forms of, I mean, dancing and singing, this is form of storytelling, self-expression in a way. So I do see a lot of similarities, as you said.
Yeah, there is something that for me works. I to be fair, I don't know if I made it up. Maybe it's just working for me. But I do have sometimes when I'm dancing, I have this feeling that, oh my gosh, this is exactly the feeling that I want to have when I'm singing this particular aria, or this kind of movement helps me find my character. So, for example, when I'm like performing at the opera house, when we have a full opera where I'm playing a character, I start from my shoes. I always ask for shoes because that's the key. That's the key for me for the movement. If I know how I move, I know who is my character. I know exactly how this character would move or react to other characters.
Interesting.
In like, this is the relationship. So that's why, like, when they tell me that, oh, you are barefoot, like you were, so it completely changes the way I move, the way I feel, the way I sing. And that's how I also write ornaments, because in Baroque music usually you have the freedom. There is a structure which is called the aria da capo. So you have the part A, then you go to part B, and then you go back to part A. And already in part B you can add some things, and then you go to part A, and you can sort of embellish it, and like you can color it with your things, of course, knowing the rules of Baroque music. But that's why when I sang, for example, Rinaldo by Handel in Frankfurt, it was something that, like, I was a soldier. I had I was wearing this armor and all that stuff. So it was kind of limiting, but it gave this power, this strength.
Yeah,
so
I
I
see
was
that.
writing ornaments which were very powerful, very defined, very sort of like, strong. And then when I was singing the same role in Glyndebourne, which is close to London, it's a very big festival, super fun. But the role was kind of like the whole opera was put in school, like it was a history lesson, sort of like that. And we were kids, and I was just wearing a uniform, and I was a kid. So that's why I wrote something, the embellishments, the ornaments, I wrote in a very childish way. Like they were very funny, and sometimes just I don't know, just kind of colorful in a kid's way.
Yeah, I see that. We'll talk more about the Baroque songs and the tour later on. But
Later.
before we get there, I still, I want to discuss one thing. We see a lot of you in opera, obviously, but nowadays we also see a lot in television, on television.
Ooh, yeah.
Lately, you've been a guest guest
Yes.
at the Top Model finale.
Yeah, I was a jury
You were jury. But, you know, I have to say, you've been raised in a different environment, meaning the environment you've been raised in, which is like classical singers, you know, it's not really showbiz in a way. It's hermetic, and there is not bad connotation to this word. It's very professional. And now you're sort of entering the showbiz in Poland. I want to ask you, if you're, in your opinion, is it like a progression of your career, or are you feeling a bit like an outsider? Because it's not really a common thing to have an opera singer.
To be
in show
honest, I look at it completely differently.
Tell me how you look.
I don't to sound, I don't know, not arrogant, but like I'm using this. I'm using it as a tool. The thing is that like I was not part of it, this kind of show business, because of course, as you said, like I'm classically trained, and like that's the focus of my career, of my path. But I have to say that I'm using the new tools, social media, and I'm especially like kind of active on Instagram, and that gave me a lot of opportunities. And I started seeing those things as opportunities that I can use,
Take advantage of.
to
I mean, that's
basically show people what does it mean to be a freelancer, an opera singer, but not only an opera singer, a countertenor, and like the lifestyle of it. So it's not only about like exactly tuxedo tales, so as I call them, the penguins, and about the singing and, you know, everybody clapping and then
it's
everybody
also
goes
the
home.
persona behind it. in a way,
Exactly.
right?
It means the preparation. It means like recordings. It means a lot of travels and like all of that people were not really aware of. I have to say that like I started doing Instagram stories a few years back because of my friend Piotr, and he said like I would love to watch it. I'm just curious.
That's the magic of it, that now we can see the backstage. Also with my program, like I'm showing guests beforehand, like I'm showing the process of creating, the preparation of the interviews, and people like it because it's authentic.
Yeah,
Voilà.
and I have to say that like also with singing, I love the process. That's the most important and most fun thing for me. It's very sometimes painful and monotonous and really kind of boring for some, but I love the fact that I can go to a practice room and be there for like 8 hours, and I just do my own breaks. Whenever I feel like I want to work, I work. Then I go lay down and watch, something on YouTube, and then I work again. But I have the time, and I spend the time to actually do the work, because this is the most important thing for me. That's my priority. Always deliver the singing, the level of your art, and then if you feel that like, if I feel that is okay, it's kind of like I've been working so long, I mean like it's on a proper level, then I can do all of the interviews and all the additional stuff. And to come back to your question about Top Model and all those like kind of TV shows, not to brag, I get many offers, but not everything is good for me. And this is another thing, like not everything is for everybody. And if I would show up on every single TV show and everywhere, I don't think it would be good for me, and I wouldn't feel good about myself. So
inauthentic. In a way,
exactly.
right?
So like
it would take away this authenticity.
I choose
element.
things that fit to my artistic profile, and with, for example, with Top Model, it's something that it's a
because
nice.
you did some modeling too.
Yeah,
also.
I started when I didn't have money for my studies because I was the one who had to pay for my studies. I was working as a model in streetwear companies mostly. So like Turbo Color, I worked with them. I worked with Crop Town. So those were fun gigs, and it was funny. But then when I started singing and I started winning some competitions and started like traveling a lot with singing, people started inviting me to do like photo shoots, and I did a lot of photo shoots. But like not just a photo shoot, they very quickly knew that like, okay, we can do some kind of really fashion photo shoot. So that's why I did like, I don't know, the magazine like Esquire, like Odd Magazine, like Citizen K or Polish Vogue on the cover. So like it's really fun. I like it. I like it. It's not my profession. I'm not a professional model.
Still like a side
thing. I
thing
have
to
say
do.
that I feel it. I kind of I have fun with it, and that's why I think they invited me from Top Model to be one of the jury members.
You are our, powiem to po polsku, bo po angielsku to nie zabrzmi, duma narodowa, national pride. It doesn't, you see, that's the point. We talked about it off cameras.
They say like national treasure. Jakub,
No,
you are
it's
the national
duma
treasure.
narodowa. And you had an interview with Natalia Szymańczyk, to whom we say hello, last year, exactly in October, I think, or November. And she asked you a question to which you responded that you are more famous abroad, in France and Spain. I feel like over this year, this has changed. That's a question for you.
Yes.
Has it changed?
Yes. I think yes. The big factor was the Olympic Games.
We're going to talk about that also later on.
So that was the major point, twisting point for Poland. And again, I'm not bitter about it. It's normal. It's kind of normal that sometimes you have to go somewhere else to I don't know, be appreciated or something. But again, I just went out. Like I studied in Poland, but then I went to Germany and I started working in Germany in smaller theaters. And my mentor, Eitan Pessen, he said like, hey, you have the capacity to basically be better, but you have to have the will to do that. And that means you need to study, but you need to study on a proper level and on the sort of in a specific way. So there are certain things which I was not taught in Poland, which were very, very important. In this top level, there is something that like you have to pay attention to. And I was completely not aware of it. So he sent me to Curtis in Philadelphia. I didn't get in, and then to Juilliard, and also I didn't get in, and then finally I did get in. Anyways, I was there, and then I started doing things there, and then I went back to Europe, but not to Poland.
So it sort of started as an international career, and as you said last year, you were more appreciated, let me put it this way, abroad than in Poland, but it has changed.
Yes, it has changed after my appearance at the Olympic Games at the opening ceremony. It was a super fun experience. But
nearly 30 million people watched you.
Yeah,
what's going on through your head when you're dancing in the rain, singing in the rain?
It is crazy.
Yeah,
the preparation process, because the whole team was preparing it for, I don't know, months. My segment, the sportivité, so the sportivity, was about sports and especially the extreme sports, and they were preparing it for, I don't know, a few months, and I jumped to the preparation process like a month before. And the good thing was that I was already in Paris, because I was doing the opera Olympiade by Vivaldi, which is also about the Olympic Games, which is super funny. So I was in the topic. But I came to few rehearsals, and it was nuts. Dude, it was incredible. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like there were so many things that were so insane that I was like and that's why like when we started the show and it started raining, like we were kind of crying. I mean, it was hidden by the rain, but like literally I was so sad for all of those artists who couldn't show what they've been preparing for so many months. Because, you know, to be honest, like we had this, like there was this platform, and on top of the platform I had my solo. So I was doing a solo which was like, I don't know, a minute or something, like with crazy stuff, because from time to time I can do some kind of we call them blow-ups, something spectacular. And then they were jumping, like the BMX riders, they were jumping over me. Like the guy was jumping from one platform to another with a double backflip. Like it was insane.
In the rain.
And there were those gymnasts, there was like, and they couldn't do it in the rain. So that's why like we showed probably like 5% of what we have prepared. So that was sad, but at the same time it gave the drama. it built up the drama on such a level that everybody wanted to do at least something. So my segment was secured in some way because I had the singing part. So I was singing, but I could not do that much, as much as I supposed to. And also it was fun to be on that platform and suddenly, because you know nothing, like you literally know only your segment. So I'm on that big platform and I see in front of me this huge screen and I'm like, oh, that's Lady Gaga.
And I'm singing right
And
next to her.
and I'm like right after her. Like
Yeah.
she's exactly like, 20
one segment
minutes before like,
me. Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, that's nice.
Jakub, I started with this, but it sort of still relates to my previous point about this like appreciation of like Polish people now, because more and more people know about you, right? Like you go on the streets now and what? People
I guess,
come up
but
to
like,
you.
the thing is that like I'm not expecting people to know me because there is something about certain people that if they do, let's say, big things, they expect to be recognized.
And you're not one of these people. I don't believe you. I mean,
no,
not fully.
I have my favorite places, and those people from my favorite places in Warsaw, I go there very often when I'm in Warsaw. So they know that I'm Jakub and I do this and that.
Yeah.
But like, everything is for people, and I'm just a human being. And it's nice that sometimes when I'm in the subway, somebody's like, "Oh my gosh,
Is that him? Can I say? I'm just gonna take a picture.
yeah,
of this guy.
sort of.
Really?
Like,
People do that?
Yeah, like I was because I'm going to Hunger 646 to jump and like learn some flips, and I was jumping for an hour, and then the trainer came to me and like, hey,
Is that you?
are you the singer?
Are you this guy?
I'm like, yeah, like that's me. And it's nice, it's cute, like it's fun. But like, I am like an opera singer. I'm not that popular. I'm not that famous. So it's not that I'm like like Sanach or Dawid Podsiadło or our Polish actors
Yet.
who are very
You'll never
very
know.
recognizable. You never know, but like this is not my goal. This is not my aim. I do things coming back to like my appearances in TV shows and like using the media
You're selective
as
in that sense.
opportunities to basically spread a word about classical music. That it's because we live in words like in worlds of stereotypes. So there are a lot of things that we think about certain, I don't know, sports or genres of music or exactly professions. And I'm sometimes just trying to break it, to break it, to show something different and to actually, I don't know, give a hand to people who, because that's my general experience. I invite people to come to a concert, and many, many times those are people who've never been into like, I don't know, a concert hall, a philharmonics or opera theater. They're sort of scared, shocked, and they, at the end, tell me that they did not know that they needed it, that they did not know that they wanted to hear something like that, that it evokes something completely different. And that's the experience that I want to try to evoke in people, that this is something new, and you cannot say that you don't like it if you have never tried it. So come, listen. If you don't like it, then try, I don't know, in 5 years, because your I don't know, taste might be different.
We will talk more about this later on, because now with the Let's Baroque tour, you're also adding your own twist, your own, pop, mainstream-ish vibe. We'll talk about it later on. I still want to finish off the topic of Olympics, because I don't know if you know, I mean, you must know, but in 2028, there won't be breaking.
Yeah, I know, it's sad.
And I wanted to wish you best of luck, because perhaps you could participate, but you might be singing. So, I mean...
no, probably not. But also,
time,
I will
we'll
be
see.
38.
Yeah,
I will
so
be like
what?
the oldest
But you have a kid in yourself. I mean, like, come on.
I don't know. Somebody asked me like, "Oh, why are you not competing at the Olympic Games for in the breaking category?" I'm like, guys, those dudes and like those girls, they're like breaking the laws of gravity. This is insane. I was watching it from my tour from Canada. I don't remember. No, I was in Austria. Sorry, I was in Austria singing a concert, and I was watching and it was insane. It was just
what
crazy.
they can do with their bodies.
What they can do. Like they would eat me. They would, like we say, smoke me. Like, oh no.
This year was quite eventful for you, I must say, because not only did you participate in the opening ceremony, but you also sang under the Acropolis. So there's clearly some Greece connection between, with you and Greece, obviously.
Oh my goodness. That was one of things for the books.
I have to ask, because this is a question I will never ask, I think, to anyone as a guest. I will never ask this question.
Know.
Most likely.
Most
but
likely.
You see, how does it feel to perform under Acropolis? Sorry, under Acropolis. Such a historic and iconic location, and you're singing Baroque songs. I mean, still, I know that these are two different eras, right?
Yes.
And we cannot equate antiquity with Baroque era. We cannot do it. Two different eras, but still, there is some historical element to it. So I want to know, how does it feel? How did it feel to perform?
First of all, let's start from the fact that with the program that I came there, I went with Beyond. Beyond is my program of very early Baroque music. Very early Baroque music has this specific thing, the specific style, which meant to go back to antique times, to bring the focus on text again, like in the ancient Greek theater. So that's why it was
bigger connection even.
It was so perfect. And actually, my orchestra, Il Pomodoro, I mean, my orchestra, it's not my orchestra, but those are my really good friends. I travel with them all the time, and we are very good friends. They were laughing at me so much because I don't know, I have something about those historical places that I have to touch. So I was running behind like this. And I am most of the time in places that nobody else can be. Like normal public cannot access those places. Yeah. So I'm like
touching all those stones.
The gates. And I'm like, oh, yeah. No, I don't know. Because then you feel the energy. I mean, I don't know. It's just something that
resonates
the so
energy,
much. And also the weather was beautiful. There are 5,000 seats in that amphitheater, and you see the Acropolis, and then you have the moon. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I have to say that I had
the whole
tears.
Experience, no?
I had tears in my eyes because those are the things that I will remember till the rest of my life, to have a show like that. And also, again, not to brag, but for classical music, because they have concerts of, for example, Sting was there. They have those kind of pop concerts,
more
crossover, mainstream things, or a full orchestra, symphonic orchestra with some kind of, I don't know, Verdi or Puccini opera. And then, of course, they have a sold out. But when they do, the organizer told me, when they do those kind of solo concerts, it's not it's
not a
full.
common thing.
It's not full. People are meh. And to be fair, that was my first time singing in Greece. First time. And there were so many people. It was almost 5,000 people.
It's insane.
Coming
in this
to
historical, iconic location.
Yeah, and to listen to some kind of obscure Baroque pieces that I found with my treasure hunter, Yanis François. And when you see that, I mean, I had sort of... nogi z waty.
I don't know how to say that. I think it's a Polish expression.
Jiggly legs,
legs, okay.
But it was insane. But also at the same time, I also kind of checked on my list another dream of mine. So the BBC Proms in Royal Albert Hall. Again, 5,000 people, just my program, very obscure program. And no, this summer was intense.
This year was intense. Also, you won L Style Awards in the category.
Yeah. But this is why I'm stylish.
There you go. No,
I'm stylish.
The category, but I want to focus on the category. Twórca ponadczasowy, timeless. Yeah, let's not translate it. Twórca ponadczasowy. But I want to focus on the word ponadczasowy, on this particular word.
Yeah.
Because to me, the art that you create, the Baroque songs, classical songs, it's sort of timeless also in a way. But some people might see you as gość z innej epoki, somebody who's reviving history again. I want to know, how do you respond to that? Or do you view your artistry as timeless, perhaps?
Oh, it's difficult to say because, first of all, what I do, I don't do it for applause or for awards. It's really a super nice addition to what we do as artists when we get this kind of appreciation in the fruits of, I don't know, LS Style, or now I got the Koryfeusz Muzyki Polskiej as the personality of the year.
I heard that, yeah.
Which is super fun. Like, I am really, really grateful for all of that, because it's fun to be acknowledged and actually, you know, when you work a lot, you focus on the work. But then you realize how much you work for things.
And you want to be appreciated for that. Too.
And then you get those kind of things and it kind of warms your heart. I'm I'm at home with my, beautiful girlfriend and with our dog. And we're like, yay, this is nice. This is nice. So yeah, I do think that with especially my art, that I bring back to life those Baroque pieces, it might be seen as something timeless, and I have to say that I loved archaeology as a kid. So for me, this is the connection. I am doing a musical sort of archaeology, which is exciting.
And now talking with the Baroque songs, I think it's a nice smooth transition to the new album of yours with collaboration with Alexander Dębicz.
Yes.
You guys have just finished your tour, freshly off the tour, performing in 9 cities in Poland.
9 cities. Actually, because the Polish part was 9 cities, but we started also checking Amsterdam and Berlin.
And you added your own twist, as I said before. So we have this context of 21st century pop, modern, also music. Moja i twoja nadzieja is a good example. I want to ask you, what was the goal behind creating this album? Was it to get closer to the audience, perhaps? Or was it just like a natural...
Not really. It was more an idea to show people how close Baroque music is to what we have today. And actually that Baroque music is the beginning. It's the beginning of everything.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, no, because if you think about that, if you study music at least a little bit, you know that it has its turns. And you see that in Baroque music, you have so much stuff that later on could become jazz, blues. There are so many jazzy things about it, and there are so many things that now are used in pop, like as I told you earlier about this chacona. This is a form which means that you have a repeated bass line, so it's like the repeated bass line, and then like on top of that you have somebody who is improvising on the flute or on the harpsichord or on the cello or on the violin or whatever. So this is like, you have a pop song or some kind of contemporary thingy that basically is constructed this way. Like you have a repeated bass line and then you have a vocal line which is kind of improvising or has a kind of structure on top of that. But for us, the most important was to highlight the beauty of Baroque music. And I have to say that it was great to work with Alexander Dębicz, as we studied together. And we always wanted to do something together, but there was never a good time
space to do that. Yeah,
never space for that. And then the pandemic hit, and we started playing together just for fun, because we just wanted to be in shape and have fun with music. So we started recording some things for YouTube, or we did a lot of charity concerts, not only in Poland but also for London or for United States. So we would stream from Alex's apartment. And it was fun. And we started kind of experimenting with the material, which we played very classically. We started with Bach cantata. We started with Vivaldi's Ea Mater. So like really, we started very classically, and then we started developing the ideas of like, let's
add our own twist. Let's explore, experiment.
Yeah, exactly. And because Alexander is an incredible improviser, like really, like he's a very well-trained pianist. He's a composer, arranger, but like he is an extremely good improviser. And for me, as a Baroque musician who also improvises a little bit, it was such a good lesson to work with him, to like learn so much from him and from his sort of taste in music and taste in interpreting music. And that was something super fun to experience
together. Also
so that's why, and also because of that, and because of our sort of appearances on the internet, we got invited by Męskie Granie for the
second time. You participated 2 years ago, no?
2 years ago, we participated in Żywiec on the main stage. And that kind of brought us to a next point where we were like, okay, we have few songs that we could do, but we have to do more because you have to have like a, 35 minutes of material. So we started exploring. And then we got in touch with Wojciech Gumiński, our bass player, and then also Marcin Łanowski, the percussionist, the drummer. And we created this team, and we started doing those kind of things, and we loved it. And people loved it. You know, this is a completely different environment.
I want to talk about that because I also saw part of your Męskie Granie fragment where you sang the Moja I Twoja nadzieja, and the whole crowd was singing.
Yeah,
and you guys added your own
insane.
twist.
It was insane. I mean, the first thing is like that really it resonated with people. So again, it showed me that we cannot treat our public as ignorance. We cannot treat them that they won't understand something. This is very important, to treat your audience, to treat your listeners as people who will understand, who will be like interested. And if you put them on that place, like in that place that they will understand, then it actually brings, I don't know, it's just not as simple. It's not as...
What you're saying, I think it's a very nice lesson learned for future endeavors. And I have to ask, you said in your social media, I'm going to read, we cannot wait for the continuation and it will definitely happen. I know it's fresh off the tour, but what can we expect next from your collaboration?
Oof, there are so many ideas. I have to say that on my computer, I have at least 7 ideas for new albums. And I just need to, make a strategy, what to do first, how, with whom, and
because
where.
Let's talk about that. You've been releasing albums every year since 2018. You had one in 2016. Then you went on prolonged vacation in 2017 because you didn't release an album, as far as I know. But man, from 2018, you've been releasing an album every year. And I did some research, okay? On average, pop and mainstream artists release albums every 2 to 3 years. And with classical artists, it's less frequently. It's every 4 to 5 years. It's nuts. You're doing this every year. Like, what's going on in your...
I don't know, like...
I mean, in a good way, you see, but...
Yeah, but I don't know. I have to sometimes the president of Warner Classics and Rato, Monsieur Alain Lanceron, he's super happy with collaborating with me, but also like recently he said, Jakub, stop it.
Can you slow down
Stop
a little
it,
bit?
basta. Like it's like you cannot do more than one a year because it's just too much. But at the same time, the thing is that like, again, I don't like to sound like I'm bragging, but like he did not encounter artists like me who have so many ideas, and in some way it just works well. I am recording programs that I can tour and I can do a lot of concerts with them, and I recorded also programs which are not tourable. So then we do just like few presentations or something, and then it just kind of exists. But also like I love to be a versatile artist. So that's why I perform in operas. I do operas in concert. I do recitals with piano. I do, those kind of things like with Alexander Dębicz, which are pop produced concerts. But I also record a lot, and I do additional stuff like, I did the commercial, for example, with BMW because I'm a BMW Friends kind of ambassador, let's say. They don't use now
they use your word friend.
Yeah, they use the friend.
That's a nice
which I kind of like.
Yeah, it sounds like more humane in a way,
the
right?
friend of the brand. And I have a very good collaboration with them, and I accepted it mostly because they have a huge history of collaborating with art institutions and collaborate with opera houses, like in Poland, for example. Like BMW is a partner of almost all opera houses or philharmonics. So this is super nice, and they also curate certain shows or do some kind of exhibitions. So like I thought this is perfect collaboration for me because it fits to my artistic profile, because they are also very much so investing in arts and in technology. So like it's.
But going back to the albums, each year.
Yeah.
We can expect.
Yeah,
More.
of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know if it's a secret or not, but like next week I'm recording a new one.
Yeah. This guy.
It's exciting. It's just, I don't know, like those are like pages from my diary, you know, like it's something like that, like my artistic sort of diary that I put on albums.
And it also looks like you're not giving up. There is one post of yours that I'm going to read. I want to thank me for never giving up, never quitting, and always trying to be better.
This is inspired by you know, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
He
obviously.
said that, and actually, you know what? After so many years of like getting up at 6 a.m. or like 7 a.m., doing all that work and going to bed at 2 a.m., I started to see that like, fuck, I do it. Like I have amazing people around me, but I
In the end,
constantly,
I am the one
constantly
who...
write those emails. I constantly think, I constantly write in my notebook. And of course, I'm grateful for all of the like the greatest people on my path, because I met really a lot of people who supported me on so many levels, emotionally, financially, and kind of structurally wise. But also I struggle a lot. So that's why I wrote. I finally decided to write. Like I want to thank me, because this is
But that's also the point, right? Because you're also, I feel like there must have been like difficult moments also. But
Of
how do you stay
course.
committed and not giving up?
Man, so many rejections, so many.
Yeah.
Like that's why we are laughing with my pianist, because our story with Michał Biel is a story of rejection, because he didn't want to work with me, and then finally he decided, okay, I can do it, and then we clicked, and until now we are working and we are singing all around the world, and my story as a singer is a story of a rejection, because at the university here in Warsaw, I was rejected 2 or 3 times. Then every single competition, I was at the beginning rejected, or I would lose in the first round. I would audition, for example, for Les Jardins de Voix. So this is the Garden of Voices, which is led by William Christie, who is a very famous Baroque conductor and very good. They have an orchestra, Les Arts Florissants, and they have this program, and I auditioned 3 times. I never was asked even to come for live auditions. And then I went there because I was studying at Juilliard, and they sent us there to Les Jardins de Voix because they have a collaboration, Juilliard and this program, Les Jardins de Voix. So we went there, and I started singing my program, and William Christie came to the rehearsal, and he was like, Jakub, why haven't you ever auditioned for my program? And I was like, Bill, I auditioned like 3 times and I was always rejected. And he was like, okay,
But you
that's
see,
life.
your story might be inspiring because it's just to keep going.
Yeah,
keep putting the hard work and really wait for the results.
Yeah,
They'll come eventually.
I think we have to be patient, and I love the process. Again, that was my thing. I love the process, and I knew that I have to work in order to get the results, and I needed more work. For some people, certain things are easier, but I do think I've spent so much time practicing, developing my voice, looking for answers, analyzing myself to get to the point where I am now. And still, it's not like I'm a finished product, and there is still some work to do, and I'm very aware of that. And this is, again, the strength you can provide for yourself. And I would suggest that to everybody. Whatever you do, just know your weaknesses. If you know them and if you are working on them, there is nobody who can hurt you. Like if I read a comment on the internet saying something bad about me, about certain things, I know that or this is bullshit or this is something that I'm working on already, so I know it. Like I know it, so and you are a random person, I don't care. But that was very, very important for me, because at the beginning I was taking a lot of, I don't know, reviews or comments very directly and
yourself,
personally, and it will hit me strong.
I think it's natural progress. I mean,
It's very
at the beginning,
natural, very natural. But once you get your confidence and you believe in your way and you are patient, that you will get there, but you are really like working. It's not like, oh, I did 15 minutes, now I can like
scroll on Instagram.
and then like I will do 5 minutes and now. So it's really like, it's important to I don't know, like just do the work. No bullshit, no excuses, just do it.
The last question I have for you, Jakub, jest pytanie od patrona, które również wy możecie zadać moim gościom. Więcej
moje
informacji.
ulubione.
Tak. Więcej informacji oczywiście o tym nie w bio, tylko w opisie tego odcinka. And the question is from Michał and is as follows. Drum roll. What's the best advice you've ever received from your parents or family? And are you able to apply it for your life today?
Oh, wow.
We're going deep, but I mean, it's nice to also have this interaction with the viewers. So
I have to be perfectly honest that I don't remember a specific advice that I could recall as like, oh, this is what my father said to me. But I have to say that from both of my parents, the lesson I got as a kid was to be open and have empathy. And that's something that I got from them, and I developed over the years. And I think this is something very important, and brings it to new places, and opens a lot of doors, and also makes space for new friendships. And that's exactly it: being open and have the empathy.
On that note, I think we can wrap up. No, it's a perfect
Michał,
lesson.
very good question.
Michał, very good questions. Keep on asking those questions.
Yeah.
I always do the thingy, but now you drink. Let's do it.
High fivey.
High fivey.
Oh,
Pleasure.
yeah. Pleasure. Big pleasure, yes.
Really enjoyed this talk. And I hope you also enjoy doing this in English, even though I feel like you do it on a daily basis. So it's not really...
actually, from time to time, it's easier to do interviews in English because I do them all the time. And to be fair, in English, you have certain structures that you like use.
You also talk about different emotions differently.
Yeah,
I feel like it's,
exactly.
it's natural progression.
But it's not to say that I cannot speak Polish. I do. But Polish is, sometimes you have to tune in and kind of readjust.
Jakub, pleasure, mamy to.
Thank you so
Super.
much.